So one more report, and that is what we had sent to you in the. No, we got it. No, we got it. So we sent you in the update the strategic plan changes. You'll recall we had a discussion with the board in September at the planning retreat on the strategic plan and some concepts about it. Then we've spent a year discussing it and talking about how we might want to revise that plan. And so we sent you in the update a modified strategic plan. Oh, David, I'm sorry. You're going to do your master plan first? I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So you have it. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. You have at your place the master plan. David's going to go through that first, but I missed that here. After we do the master plan, we'll do the update on the strategic goals. And then we'll circle back with some more stuff.
Okay, well, I'll just make my presentation really quick.
Okay.
So the board already received the original strategic goals for the
Strategic goals. He's going to go through it quickly. Okay.
So the board of trustees already received the original goals for the institution, which were six strategic goals and objectives. And then we revised those goals through the governance process. And President Weber had asked the executive cabinet as well as GCC to look at our goals in relation to Josh Weiner, who came out with this book about what excellent community colleges do. And there were four major principles from Josh Weiner's book. And that was one, student completion, number two, student learning, three was equity and student learning, and then the fourth was also labor market outcomes, meaning that our students actually get jobs after they complete a degree or a certificate from CLC. So what we did is we revised our strategic goals based on those four principles.
Does everyone have these? We're all on the same page?
Yeah, if you have them in your update materials, you have them, but we can get you copies. He has extra copies here if you need.
Okay, so this is the update. They're on the back of this.
The last part of the update.
That's all big there.
Last few pages. And some of you already have it. Some do not.
So goals and objectives, we're looking at the red line costs out received. Okay?
And you have a clean version at the very back of it. So.
We got something, maybe it's in the budget for you.
Okay.
All right, fire away.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay. So part of the process for revising the strategic goals, this process went through our governance coordinating council, and we revised them down to four major goals. One being advanced student learning and success. We added completion, and that was based on Josh Weiner's book in regards to making sure that that students persist and then that they complete. Some of the objectives under that particular goal did change, and I'll just say specifically, like we originally had increased success of male African American and Latino students, but after looking at those objectives, we wanted to be more global and inclusive. Because if you call that out just by itself, you discount or you don't consider folks with disabilities or veterans or other first-generation students who may not be African American or Latino. That doesn't mean that we're not going to monitor that, because that will be part of our momentum strategies. But I think, at least in our goals, we're trying to be more global and more broad. The second goal, maximize educational opportunity with the district. We primarily kept that goal pretty much as it is. We did change some things around in that goal. But the other one that I wanted to focus on was number 3, ensure fiscal stability and appropriate stewardship of resources. That goal was eliminated, and I'll give a little bit of background or my understanding as to why that was eliminated. Is because, I guess, at one point in time, the institution, we had considered ourselves under maybe potential financial stress. But then I think in 2010, and with Dave Gacy's leadership, the board approved the policy. Then we would have a fund balance of about 25%. And as you saw in Dave's presentation, we've exceeded that goal, and I think it's what, 32% now, right? So I guess the premise for why we got rid of that goal is because the institution is financially stable, and we will continue to be financially stable. It didn't need to be called out as a specific goal. Goal number 4, promote diversity, global engagement, sustainability. We also added wellness to that, because that is one of the new commissions within our governance structure. So we wanted to make sure that we added wellness to that goal. Number 5, enable a culture of innovation, excellence, and continuous improvement. We maintain that goal as well. And then goal number 6, which was to build a college's reputation as a premier educational institution. We eliminated that goal because of the branding project that Evelyn Shealy presented to the board several months back, and all of the things that she has accomplished in that area. And we thought that that was something that you actually do when you achieve student success, student completion, so it's kind of integrated within the strategic plan as it already exists. But some of the objectives under what was goal number 6, was incorporated under some of the other goals in terms of engaging the community, building relationships with high schools and things like that. So that's the gist of the revised strategic goals and objectives.
Questions?
Derek, I don't know the way the rest of the board feels, but I'm not so sure it's a good idea to get rid of the goal that says we're going to be fiscally responsible. I mean, I understand what you're saying, we have it in a policy, but, we talk about, student success, we talk about educational opportunities, from a board perspective, that's one of our main jobs, is to ensure the long-term fiscal stability of the institution, and I think by eliminating it, to me, it puts a real gap in, it's not important.
Let me respond to that for a second, if I could, Mr. Olschlager. So we brought this to the GCC, and one of the messages we wanted to do was, as Derek's kind of saying, bring those goals down from 6 to 4 and really focus them. So we looked at
the money part, there's nothing else. Nothing else exists without having the fiscal stability.
Sure. So we looked at other institutions. We looked at our peer institutions, their strategic plans, and none of them contained a goal for fiscal stability. So we started thinking, do we have a problem with stability that they don't? Is there something wrong with our finances that we have to have a goal to have stable finances? So I understand that it's an important part, and we cannot do anything if we're not fiscally stable or fiscally strong. That's a given. It's just not something we're striving for and trying to increase it. We feel we are stable. And it's the same way with the premier institution. We actually achieved a lot of those objectives under that goal. And the others, as Derek said, were blended into the rest.
Well, what about saying something about maximizing fiscal stability or something, just as we do with the educational component? I think we're just missing the mark by not including something in there about the fiscal stability of the college.
Yeah, I disagree. I think these goals reflect what the institution is about, the business of the institution. And I think that strong fiscal stability should be understood. I mean, I think we should all take that as something that we have to achieve, and we don't have to say it. I think we should have the institution's goals and objectives be about what the institution does. So I agree with the way that you changed this to take that out. So I don't agree with that. I mean, and I think of like when I look at annual reports, corporate annual reports, I mean, you don't see stuff like that in there. I mean, the goals are, not to say that we are a corporation, public corporation, you know, profit corporation, but our goals, I think, should be about what the institution does and what the institution delivers and what the institution's mission is. And being strong fiscally should be just understood. That's my thought on it. So I agree with how you guys changed this. Plus, I looked at the changes that you made from the red line to this, and I like the way that they're stated positively. Because some of the things I had looked at, I thought, I don't like the way it sounds. It sounds kind of negative. So I like that you changed these so that they're positively stated.
Okay, others?
Yes, I have a couple of questions, comments really. I'm just really impressed with Dr. Weber's staff, and you've done a really good job putting together the right people for the right positions. And so I'm really impressed by the consolidation of the goals. I mean, you can get too cumbersome and lose your focus. So I really do like the consolidation of the goals. You want goals to be measurable. So I am very curious, in particular, the goal of promoting excellence in the areas of diversity. 3.1 says to infuse diversity and all this other stuff into the curriculum. How is that done very quickly? I mean, without going to a dissertation of any sort.
Sure.
How is that done?
Sure, I think what I could tell you, and it answers maybe a broader question for all of these. So we have, and we're going to bring you by October, a report on all the things that we are currently measuring and all of these objectives here. So for that one, you're likely to see, for instance, how many, I'm going to get this, what's that group called, the DME? DMEIP sessions we run, which are training sessions and that the faculty do, how much attendance there were at different types of events we've looked at, and then we also do a survey that will incorporate into that. We did that last year. We'll either do that every year or every other year, so that'll provide some of the data. So we'll start to build longitudinal data to track all of these. And of course, in some cases, like when you call it the graduation and transfer rate, that data is already established through different national measures and processes. So we'll have both ones that we've internally created to measure ourselves against. That Linda is an example on 3.1.
Right.
And then we'll have others where we're benchmarking against our peers and others in the nation, and we'll be providing you that whole report.
That's great for big data. We love big data. We do. I just want to know, at what point are we going to be considered successful? When are we successful? You set out a goal and you want to measure it, and then you say, yes, we did it. Or we are progressing nicely on that goal. I'm very curious. I mean, you don't have the answer now. I'm just really,
no, it's a really good point.
I'd like to know when we're going to be successful.
Yeah, that's I have to tell you that
I mean, in a ball game, you win and you get more points at the end when the buzzer, buzz.
Jerry, I would address this question. We have a commonality of the big A. I mean, as you set a goal of increasing sales or increasing profitability by
it's measurable.
X percent.
Yes.
When you capture that goal, the next time around, the next budget year, you may well go back to the same goal, 5%. So there is a way, it's a matter of getting 4 hits in a game of baseball, And the next game, you may not get 4 hits, but 3 is good. All those are
Right.
achievable.
Why don't we do,
laudable.
well, why don't we do this? I think this is a great challenge. So what we will do in the next